Let's start with an overview of how I would go about creating the content for a whole month in just an hour. Of course, I'm cheating. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of things to be in place, but I'll tell you what I believe should be in place. This is our playbook, a Pirate Skills playbook for content marketing and storytelling, and it's divided in 4 areas. We need to understand why we do what we do, our story. We have to know the topics that we consistently want to talk about. And we have to know how we are talking about it. So let's say you're talking about funnel building for webinars. Then you can do that in a blog post or in a short video, in an email, many different formats and how you can package that. And then you have to decide when you want to talk about it. And I propose a clear structure on how to get there. And this would be the 1-month content plan. Yeah, just way more concrete than this. This is just the structure. So what do I mean by why we do this? I always start with, who am I doing this for? Like, who am I helping? And you probably have done some jobs like personas, customer avatars. Just stick them up here, have them very clear in mind when you do your content creation session. If it's not valuable for them, if you're just posting another live quote, except David. David is absolutely allowed to post as many live quotes as he wants. It's his main business. But all of us, we don't have to post live quotes. We have to write something that is helpful for our customers. And if it's not, it's dead. Then we want to have present, why should they come to us? What are the reasons they would actually go to us instead to the competition? And we try to let that shine through in every single touch point, on every website, on every LinkedIn post, in every video, one little bit of uniqueness, because everything has been said before. Every piece of content has been published before. It just hasn't been said from your perspective. And that enables you to hopefully understand, first of all, your audience, what problems and goals they have. With every post, every video, every online event like this here, I'm asking myself, like, what are problems and goals you guys have that I can build a solution for? Yeah, something like the 1-hour content plan. And when my posts do not reflect that I'm solving a problem, I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, at least in my opinion. There's this whole world of entertainment where this does not apply as much, but 99% of you guys are not in the entertainment business, but in the education, if at all, like in the edutainment, yeah, which we seem to be all in at the moment. Yeah, we need to be educational, but also entertaining somewhat. And then I want to have very present, what are the solutions we are providing that solve those problems and help them get to those goals? Yeah, we have some free stuff that we can pitch, some low tier, mid tier, high price stuff. But every piece of content, we don't do content marketing for just shits and giggles. Yeah, at the end, we want to help people make a transition, which can be for free, but of course we need to make some money as well. Have that present. And that leads us to the last part of this, the transformation that we want to provide our customer, like the positive impact, so the bit more idealistic goal. For example, I want to help more founders and marketers to increase the impact and profit of their product, which is hopefully something good in the world. This is how I scale. Yeah, what's good. But also, how is that a business case for them? Yeah, what does our solution do that makes it a no-brainer for them to do it as a business or as a person? And I try to put that into like one core message. We help audience X to solve problem Y by doing Z. For example, for Pirate Skills, I try to have present that I help founders and marketers grow the impact and profit of their products by mastering the art and science of growth marketing. So that's what I'm providing. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, that's this why. The stronger this is, and the more it truly resonates with your audience, the better your content. This is what guarantees the quality of your posts. Some of you were asking me up front, like, Ben, 1 hour for a whole month of content marketing. Are you joking? Yeah, where do we lose quality there? Yes, you do, and you don't have to do it in 1 hour. Yeah, take your time. I just wanted to have the most trimmed down basic version that gets you started in 1 hour, that gets you to the plan, to the draft for a month, of course not including all of the content creation that needs to happen after you planned. Yeah? So, but this is where the quality comes from, where the resonance comes from. I used to think this is bullshit until I read and then practiced a lot of things that Donald Miller said in his book, Building a Story Brand. And after I maxed out my analytics setup, my funnel, my performance marketing campaign on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Google, what's left? What can you still forever improve? That is your message, how well you communicate it, and what you're saying, to whom you're saying it, and the way you're saying it. So that's an infinite pond of growth up here. That's part one. Yeah, should have that clear. Then the next thing that makes it way more concrete. Yeah, I understand the top was a bit woo-woo, that's fine, but I absolutely believe in it. Now we need to decide, what do we talk about? I have 6 topics, as you guys know. I talk about the growth roadmap, the strategy, content marketing storytelling, funnel building, analytics, traffic generation, conversion rate optimization. Yeah, however that made 7 fingers. I don't know how that happened. But you guys, I really hope that you don't have more than 3 to 6 core topics that you want to be known for as the go-to problem solver. Yeah, and those big topics, for example, the topic of today is content marketing and storytelling. There is one specific topic that people care about, that is publishing content regularly. Yeah, that is one topic within the big content marketing and storytelling world. But it also includes how to produce that content, how to package it, for example, as one of our participants here said, how to package that into a digital course, all of that stuff. Yeah, but you need to find your big themes and then the very specific topics that if you were to write a book, these would be the big chapters and those would be the articles within those chapters. Yeah. And then for also, not just for your own sanity, but for who you work with, who's helping you with the content marketing, put your best content you ever produced here. Not only the ones that got the most clicks, yeah, but also the ones that you are most proud of, that represents what you have done the best. Because, like it or not, the best content from the past, if you upgrade that a little bit, is very likely going to be the best content for the future. So put those in here, yeah, and then you are settled and you know what you're talking about. This is the quick runabout, yeah, of this. In case you are joining us for the content marketing storytelling workshop next week, this is what we would be doing together. Yeah, those 4 steps. So I just give you the brief runabout so I can tell you what needs to be in place in order to get to the 1 hour for content planning for a whole week. And okay, it's nice that I want to talk about the 1 hour content plan, the content planning being one of the topics. Now I need to package it. I need to decide, how do I want to talk about it? And the readier I am to pluck, like from a buffet, different styles of content, different social media posts, emails, landing pages that I want to build, the easier I can put those into a monthly content calendar. Yeah, so how am I thinking about packaging and delivering your message and style? As you can see, we have 3 different areas here. Yeah, top of the funnel. Imagine like funnel, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Top of the funnel are people who you still need to create awareness for. This is where we cannot pitch them our product yet, where we cannot take too long to get to the point. This is the short and sweet world, the Instagram Reels, the TikToks, maybe some kind of contest, something that get people involved at all. Middle of the funnel is where people are aware of the problem, but they need some time for consideration. And bottom of the funnel is where you need to help them to make a purchase decision. This is where you share like, this is why we are better than competitor Y. This is why we have this and that feature set that is really important for you in your situation. Yeah, that would be absolutely confusing to somebody who is not problem aware. And to understand that your content marketing needs to cover those 3 stages in the life cycle. People at the very beginning, people in the middle, and people just ready to buy. That has always been very important to me to do my monthly planning. And then we do very different content depending on the channel that we are working on. So I wrote 5 example channels here: LinkedIn, Instagram, blogging, email, website. Very different pieces of content that I'm providing here. And you can define your channels the way you want to. But I would highly suggest not only doing this for social media, but including channels like your website, your blog, your email as well. You can just make this smaller if you have more channels. And then I ask myself, let's say for LinkedIn, what is a big content format? Let's take our example that we are in right now. We have now this idea, this topic of the 1-hour content plan. A big thing I could do on LinkedIn is, for example, doing a LinkedIn live stream, doing this, what we're doing right now as a LinkedIn live stream, or publishing it completely as a PDF, as a downloadable PDF. That would take a lot of time to produce and to work towards. Something medium could be a 10-minute video where I explain it. A small thing could be a list of my 6 favorite tools that help me to create content faster. And you need all 3 categories. I think in your monthly plan, you should have one highlight, one really big thing, a couple of medium things, and a lot of small things. And I plan everything I do around the big thing. Yeah, that'll make more sense when we move forward. And somebody asked about the themes. Understand this as bigger topic categories. Yeah, themes are just bigger topic categories. Content marketing and storytelling is a theme. Content planning could be one of the topics within that. Yeah, hope that makes sense now. In case you later want some inspiration of what kind of formats one could drive, I have a long list of things one could do. Sharing fuck-ups, posting a challenge, bitching about something, memes. Maybe you can take some inspiration from that at some point. So now I would say that is enough introduction. We now have the why we do it in our content, the what we talk about, and the how we do it. And now we can go one step deeper into what our focus of today is, to say, when do we do it? And for that, we move over here. I would recommend just going through with me now and just saving the link and the password for later. But as always with Miro boards, you can copy the whole Miro board, and then you can just duplicate the whole thing. This is what I can share today. This is the 1-hour content plan with this section of the Pirate Skills playbook. Now we have the 1-hour content plan and the 4-week or 30-day planning. This Miro board is set up like this. At the bottom, we have the Pirate Skills examples. Yeah, so you know how it could look like, yeah, in practice. And we'll go through it together. And at the very top here, this is the main framework. And at the top right, this is where you can just start overriding this to anything that is relevant for you. Yeah, and how to restructure it. So this is where you start, and try not to destroy this. But since you have a copy, it's no problem. Yeah, you can always go back on Zoom. All right, I see a lot of thumbs up there. Great. Okay, so how does it work? It's divided in two parts. Let's start with the left-hand part. The first thing I think you should be doing is deciding what are the content formats, the types of contents before you decide on the topic. Yeah, what are the standard formats I want to publish in a regular period of time? I chose a month, yeah, because every month I define a topic of the month. Yeah, that is this one here, the key challenge of my audience. Yeah, and I base all of my content, maybe not all, but like 80% on that focus. I have teams who say, I do this on a daily basis, I do this on a weekly basis. Choose your rhythm, but I highly recommend, especially in B2B, to focus in a monthly rhythm to communicate your solutions to a key challenge from multiple perspectives. Yeah, which also has the great advantage of making all of your content work that you invest in the big thing also applicable for the small stuff. Yeah. So as you see here, we start with a key challenge. So define, this is something that my customers are struggling with. Yeah. Maybe I do it with the Pirate Skills example directly. For example, my audience struggles with setting up a good webinar series that generates leads and builds trust. Yeah, they often want to do it, but the question is, how do I do it technically? How do I do the content? Who's in front of the camera? There's a lot of funnel building around it. That is a topic of the month that I want to focus on. And I've decided there should be a few big things that I'm developing once per month, a few medium and a lot of small things. My big things are one online event and one lead magnet. For this example, it's the next webinar in September 9th, so the follow-up to this one, and it's called Webinar Funnel Wizardry. Yeah, I can open up that landing page for you to see, put it into the chat if you're interested in that. And I chose an online event, this roundtable series, because I realized that if I have 2 events planned in advance, I never skimp out on content creation. Imagine I would show up tonight and I had nothing to show you. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I tried multiple times to write blogs, but I never came around to do it. Yeah, I know some of you get to do this, but I never came around to do it. And 7.5 years ago, I started this monthly series. And except for the half year where we deliberately decided to take a break, it has always happened. It has simply always happened. You can go here to pirateskills.com and check out the free loot. And these are the recordings, at least the ones that I feel are still current. These are the recordings and lead magnets of every single Pirate Skills monthly event that we do. Now, a couple of years later, this looks like a big elaborate library where you might ask yourself like, oh, but I cannot have this much available on my end. If you do it 1 month, it will just happen like this. And it's a cheat code I have found for myself. I'm not saying everybody needs to do an online event, but at this point in time, I'm pretty sure you're missing out if you're not having an online event, at least once a month. Do the event that you would like to visit yourself. That was the initial premise of the Pirate Skills meetups. I needed to go to Essen, a city I think like 100 kilometers from here to the Unperfekt house, where I met Roland, yeah, who is here today, to go to a growth marketing meetup, that was WordPress related, yeah. And I was like, what? No, I want one in Cologne. I want a different here. And that's how Pirate Skills was created. And over the years, I've noticed you could do talks, you could invite guests, or you could just give people something valuable and make the whole event about that. And so now, since I think 2 years, there is never an online event for Pirate Skills where I do not have something for you guys to download. That is not the main thing that this event is about. Yeah, it's about the community building and the exchange, but the primary objective is to deliver value, to give before I ask. Yeah. So connecting those two has been very helpful, but they are a shit ton of work. This is why they're in the big category. And I recommend that you guys only choose 1 or 2 big things you want to do. Other examples for big things are, for example, are giveaways. You're in a B2C, let's say Karin, who's doing body therapy. She gives away 1 massage or 1 special treatment to the person that is most recommended among her friends. All her people on social media are being asked who needs that treatment the most, and that person gets it. Yeah, that would cause a big buzz. Yeah, and it would be known Karin does this once a month for her community, but she can't do it every week. Yeah, it's too much work. It would be annoying at some point. But all of you can do 1 big thing a month. With bigger companies, I also add a quarterly highlight. For example, where they host an offline event, or they do some very special big thing. For example, with AXA, we did this big SheWow event. It was a nomination of women, also from the whole community, who were not famous, but who were recommended by their coworkers for this SheWow effect. She really does something here at work that is, or at private, that is special. And they were nominated in 3 categories. There was an offline event, the CEO and like multiple CEOs were at the event. You can't do this every month. Yeah, this is where you define, like, I do a quarterly or yearly highlight. Last week there was the Greater Festival by this company called Greater, used to be called Gedankentanken, where Tony fucking Robbins was in Cologne. You can't do that too often. Decide on 1 big thing that is super valuable for your audience that takes some time. Yeah, and write those content pieces into your plan. You don't need to do more. You just need to say, this is the thing that I'm going to plan. Yeah, the webinar. And I'll have the funnel checklist. I don't have the funnel checklist done yet. If you had asked me, Ben, where's the 1-hour content plan yesterday? I could have said, yeah, we do this since a couple of years in our brain, but I can't show it to you yet. This is something that is being done now. Medium. Again, let's think about it. How to set up a webinar series to generate leads and build trust. For YouTube videos and for newsletters. Those also take some time, but not as much as the big event and the lead magnet itself. But I can make those videos in the context of what I've prepared at the top. Yeah, so the work, the energy that went into it can now affect the other content that I'm producing. So what kind of videos am I producing? I post a live stream of this webinar to YouTube. 1 video solved. Yeah, I make 1 video about tools because I know my audience loves to talk about tools. I talk about how to generate more customers. I create 1 where I do a compact version of the webinar, where I show the webinar checklist. Those live streams like this one, they're going to take an hour, and not many people will watch it. Again, this is a topic of tofu, mofu, bofu. Yeah, middle of the funnel people like you will be watching an hour-long video, especially if it's live. But somebody on LinkedIn is maybe willing to watch 2 or 3 minutes. Somebody on YouTube is willing to watch 8 minutes. So that's what's happening there. Then I write 4 newsletters. Newsletters are an absolute essential piece of any content marketing strategy. But I often see that they are being done very independent of what else is going on. Yeah, there's just some weird newsletter that is going out and some intern is doing that. But just make it part of your monthly structure. Guess what? This event newsletter is inviting people to this webinar. Yeah, this newsletter is showing people this YouTube video because I want to push on YouTube. It's valuable. It's a good thing to talk about. It essentially gives me the copy upfront that I need to talk about. And I align my newsletters either on a weekly or on a bi-weekly basis with the content I'm producing anyways. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So last but not least, small content. Short videos are the most important type of content for top of the funnel in 2023. And the convenient thing is they are short. They are shorter usually than 60 seconds. Some would say like 90 seconds, but since I want to publish it also on YouTube Shorts, for me it's 60 seconds. Yeah, and I try to explain anything in 60 seconds. Everything you need to do to host a great webinar. 7 reasons to still do a webinar in 2023. How to talk in front of a camera. What I learned in the past year. And of course, I do a short video to promote the event. Yeah, and some normal posts. Yeah, like webinar tools, reviews of something like OBS, something that has zeitgeist at the moment. For example, I believe that this community first approach has become the next big wave of businesses. People creating a community and then producing content and products for that community. But the community comes first. I happened to tap into that business model 7 years ago. Yeah, well, it's just dumb luck. There was a good question about the newsletters with the event and evergreen. So what we do, 2 weeks before the event, we invite people to the webinar. On the day of the event or the day before, we remind them to join the webinar. But in between, we have a series of evergreen emails that send people the best content that we have ever produced once they sign up. And we have a dynamic section in them where something like the upcoming event can be added. Yeah, but that is the difference between the evergreen and the event emails. Yeah, this is part of the funnel building concept we're going to talk about at the next webinar with Webinar Funnel Wizardry. I have this structure, and this is what you please need to do. You need to define what are your biggies, what are your mediums, and what are your small ones. And even within that, define what they usually are. My mediums, my biggies are the roundtable and the downloadable. My mediums are a live stream, a compact version of the roundtable, a how-to practical guide, and a tool-related video. My shorts are usually a 60-second explainer, a zeitgeist video, a how-to short, and a roundtable pitch. So now you start to get how I can create a monthly content plan for a specific challenge in an hour. Because I've built the structure, because I've thought about, this is my favorite stuff. This is not supposed to force you into anything. Yeah, if you think like, oh, how to, that's boring this month, I'm gonna do an interview. Yeah, do that. It's just setting appropriate defaults. Yeah, and then when you want to be creative, that gives you the mind space to be creative. And those defaults then led into this very concrete monthly plan for next month, and that goes into this content calendar. Here's my content calendar for the 4 weeks. Yeah? I could simply pretty much drag and drop the formats that I have into my regular content cycle. So that looks like this. I believe in B2B that you should have 3 days a week where you post. The next step up is if you were to post 3 times a day. In between those two in B2B, there is not too much to be gained. But since none of us that are sitting here are in the I post 3 times a day, let's go to the 3 times a week schedule. Again, I help myself. I give myself structure by defining what those days are and what is the main thing. For example, on Monday, I do my short videos. On Wednesday, I do my YouTubes and my emails and my big live stream events. On Fridays, I do my regular posts. Nobody will notice this structure. Nobody. Yeah? And you're absolutely allowed to go left and right from the structure. No worries, but have a sane default. So now you can just put in all of the short videos in here, make sure it makes sense. Put in the YouTube videos, the newsletters, the webinar date, which is the most important thing that I need to structure around. And it's done. Boom. Yeah, it usually doesn't take an hour. What takes more than an hour is setting up the structure. Yeah, and this is where I would like to open up to the group and start the first part of the roundtable conversation.